Welcome everyone, this is Gwydion, and tonight I'm going to hopefully start something a little bit different for the channel. As many of you know, I tend to start some games and just show you how to play them and then move on. But I recently purchased a game book series, Sunfall, by Michael J. Ward, and it's published by Archmage Press, the same publishers that did Domain of the Deathless King, which I really enjoyed. And I kind of gravitated to Sunfall because I typically like games that are more true one player, solo player. And Domain of the Deathless King, you can play solo, and it's intended for solo or GMless, but you have 4 different characters. So this one intrigued me because it's just one. I played through the prologue, and it took me 2 sessions, total of about maybe, I don't know, hour and a half, hour and 45. And I'll link them here somewhere to that if you want to see them. And I'll start off by saying there definitely will be spoilers because I'll be playing through the actual adventure. Hopefully, if you only want to watch an episode or 2, depending on how far I get, you won't see too many spoilers because it'll be the intro. But rest assured, I can't really stop the spoilers. So I'll have my character sheet under where it says hero. I'm going to be using the PDF in the middle of my screen and then keep notes on the bottom, track things like conditions and the like. And I'll try to just explain rules as I go, which is how this is intended. So my name is Star Messenger, and you get a couple choices when you play through the prologue. So I'm going to pick it up from the prologue. So if you want to see that background, you might want to watch that video. And I'm using, for background noise, you might hear on occasion, I'm using a program called Barty that hopefully as I talk and we get into different situations, it'll update to something that's thematic for where we're playing. It's a fun site. I would check that out. And then finally, for my dice rolling, hopefully I have it set up correctly, but I'll be using 3D dice that should populate as we do our rolls. So that's all the background I'm going to give, and I'm going to dive into this adventure, which is based, I think loosely, I guess I would say, on like Incan Mayan civilization. So let me find where I am picking up from the prologue and close that off. So basically I came out of this, I don't know if I'd call it a cavern, but underground somewhere. And I came up to this barren landscape, and I see a haze of like steam and ash, and I can see a distant settlement. And there are 4 places that I can go to now to start my journey. So I've got the Canyon Valley, which, let me read through this. Does it say much about it? So I'm current elevation. There's a set of worn stairs winds up from the plateau, overlapping like the coiled scales of an enormous serpent. They rise into the mist, lost to the side of the mountains. There's an imposing temple. So I don't know. Nearby, the valleys worm into some semblance of a man-made clearing, mainly a stone quarry. And then there's this huge, like, I call it a golem, but what it looks like is it's some weird assembly. I think that's the Walking Tower of Tascalan. And it's kind of jagged chunks of obsidian. That one looks a little nerve-wracking. The snakebite path, maybe goes up into the mountains, and then there's the lava plains, which sounds a little scary. I think I'm going to start with the Canyon Valley. That sounds, I don't know if I'd say stay safe, but let's start going to the Canyon Valley. So a sharp wind whistles between the misshapen crags and boulders that litter the valley floor. Its keening cry accompanies the crunch of volcanic rock beneath your sandaled feet, and the occasional distant belch of grit and ash thrown up from cratered geysers. I'm going to turn down the music just a bit. I'm going to try to keep an eye on that. See if that is helpful to limit it a little. There we go. As you press on through the gray-black landscape, you notice your many scrapes and wounds slowly healing, scars fading to perfect, unblemished skin once more. Perhaps the strange boon of restorative magic is linked to the peculiar tingling sensation that radiates from your burning chest. You'll learn about that from the prologue. If you have the keyword black bite, which unfortunately I do, let me look at my keywords. Yep, I do have Black Bite. Turn to 159. So let's see what that does. Unfortunately, one wound stubbornly resists your healing capabilities. I'm going to go back to my character sheet here. There we go. The cruel bite from a Mictlan snake still remains open and weeping, its black tendrils spreading beneath your skin and proving numb to the touch. You fear that unless this deadly injury is treated soon, you might have to take extreme action to excise the limb and prevent the spread of its dark and insidious poison. Well, that's certainly not how I wanted to start this adventure off. So let's turn to 223. I don't know what I can do with that, though. I don't have anything in my inventory, but let's keep going. Shadows lengthen as the canyon walls rise high around you, leading you down into a boulder-strewn gorge. Sheltered from the incessant wind, new sounds began to surface, strange and sharp in the sudden stillness. You hear angered hissing and croaking, accompanied by a distinctly human voice spitting curses, defiant and afraid. Intrigued, you quicken your pace, skirting the edge of a rockfall to emerge into a more open space. Two giant salamanders are kicking up a flurry of dust as they attempt to rear up and snap at a young man perched atop a boulder. He looks to be in a poor state, dressed only in a ragged loincloth, his chest cut and bleeding, some arcane mark carved into the flesh. Weaponless, he meets the lizards with a wild fury, shouting profanities and hurling rocks. Your instinct is to rush to his aid, but a scuff of movement alerts you to another presence. A grizzled man crouches in the shadows, half hidden behind a cluster of rocks. He appears to be a seasoned hunter with an array of weapons strapped across his body. His many scars stand livid on his arms as he takes up a bone javelin and takes aim. At first, you assume he is targeting the salamanders, but when you study his aim, you see it is not fixed on the beasts at all, but on the youth atop the rock. What? I mean, I don't know anything about this, guys, but two giant salamanders. Maybe if I take out the salamanders, this guy... I mean, I don't know if I want to stop the hunter, because I just don't know if this guy's bad or not, but why don't I charge at the salamanders, and maybe the other guy will stop? Yeah, let's try that. Let's charge at the salamanders. And hopefully, a couple things before I move on. Hopefully the music isn't too loud. Let me know in the comments. And I'd really appreciate, I don't always ask for this like I should. Give me a like as you watch this, if you do like it. Give me a comment if you want to see more. It'll just encourage me to keep going because this is a very lengthy series. So, all right, let's charge the salamanders. Hollering a battle cry, you charge forward, catching all parties by surprise. The two creatures spin to face you, drawn by the sound of your frantic advance. The distraction is enough to throw off the hunter's aim, his javelin merely clipping the young man's shoulder, eliciting a surprised shriek as he tumbles backward off the rock. You hear the hunter's curse of anger behind you, but for now, you have bigger concerns. It's time to fight. So, okay, two salamanders, I think. Yeah, two creatures. So I assume each one of them has health of 25. So let me kind of make some notes here to follow this. I'm going to say combat, salamander. I hope I'm doing this right. 1, 25 HP, and then salamander 2, 25 HP. He did say 2. Well, no, it says salamanders. So you know what? I'm going to just assume, I'm going to take this for face value for now and say they're combined. They are, let's see. Yeah, I think combined, I'm going to say that you're attacking them both and their total is 25. I think it would have told me to. Anyway, let's do it. So the first thing I'm going to do is roll a d6, 1d6. Hopefully that works. And that is a 5. So that is Snap Jaws. So if this ability hits, apply 2 bleed counters to your hero. Let's hope it doesn't. And yeah, let's hope it doesn't hit. So what I get to do is either parry or evade. So in this case, parry is lower, so I'm definitely going to try to parry, which I believe parry is my agility. I think 2d6 plus my agility. You know what? I want to check that real quick. I'm going to pause. Give me a second. Okay, so it is 2d6 plus your agility score. So, and my agility is 2. I don't think I get anything else right now, so let's start there. So 8 plus 2 is 10. So I do succeed on the parry, which means I get to go ahead and use my... Actually, let's do two things. Sorry, I'm still learning this. In combat, I have learned the wind invocation. So I'm going to look at my sheet here, and I'm just going to designate. So I have this check mark here that says I know wind, and I'm going to go ahead and select wind here to say that's my current invocation. So that means I can use things like my wind bullets, and I only have one option, so I would have activated that. So the question is, I think I'm going to go ahead. It would take 3 stamina, but I think I want to take this thing out. It's 25 health. So it does take 3 stamina. So that's not great. And then once your stamina is done, it's not a good thing. But let's go ahead and so we'll go down to 7 stamina. And then we're going to use and that's going to give me +3 to my damage. And we're going to go ahead and do the brittle edge strike, which is 2d6. So first I need to roll 2d6 plus my might to see if I'm above their defense of 7. 6 plus 2, 8. So I just get it. So I'm above their defense. So now I get to do 2d6. But brittle edge does come with something. I'm going to go back to the prologue and flip between these two so I'm not having to jump you around too much. All right, so on a hit, anything of 5 or 6 becomes a 2. So I'll try to remember that. So I'm going to roll 2d6. 5 or 6 becomes a 2. So I get a 1 plus that 6 becomes a 2. That's a 3 plus 3 from my wind bullets is a 6. So I'm going to take him down, I guess both of them down to a 6, down 6. So that's going to be 19. Ooh, that's still rough. Yeah, that's a little nerve-wracking, but I think I'm doing this right. I want to make sure in my combat, I think it all costs stamina. Make an attack with your hero. Yeah, I'm sure it's stamina. So let's keep going. I'm going to make sure that I am marking off my stamina, and I do need to remember that brittle edge takes some amount of stamina. Let me make sure I have that. I'll get better at this. Apologies, it's going to take me a little bit. 2 stamina. And the other thing that I have, pensive strike, is 1 stamina. So you know what, I might have to do that. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and... So that takes me down 2. That takes me down to 5 stamina already. Wow, I don't feel like I used that much stamina. I wonder if I was using my health accidentally. Anyway, let's keep going. I'm pretty sure it's stamina. So, all right. So we're going to roll again a d6 to see what it does next. And that is a 6. Oh God, fire spit. So I cannot parry this. All I can do is evade. And if I don't evade, this looks like it's going to be nasty. So in this case, all I can do is evade it. So let's go ahead and roll 2d6 plus my agility. 9 plus my agility. So I safely evade that. That's great. But as I'm trying to like dive out of the way of this fire spit that's coming flying at me, I just don't have time to try to ready an attack. So I get up, dust myself off, and it's going to attack me again. So what does it do? It does a 4, so it's going to snap jaws. I'm going to attempt to parry it again. I think for now, I'm going to go ahead and do just the... I think I'm going to do the 2d6 what's it called? The brittle edge. Although spear, well, you know what? I think you can only keep, you have to keep with the weapon that you decided to use. Maybe I can switch it, but I don't know. So, all right. So I'm going to go ahead and try to parry the Snapjaws. And what? No, I already parried, didn't I? God, I get so bad at this. I think I did parry. So I will use that. I'm going to use brittle edge, which is 2. So that takes me down to 3 stamina. And I got to roll to hit. So 2d6 plus my might. So that's 9 plus my might of 2, 11. So I do hit it. And that's above the 7 defense. And now I need to roll damage, which is 2d6. But a 5 or a 6 become 2. Well, that's good. 3 and a 2 is 5. So we go back as this. My knife is not, it's not the sharpest, but it does 5 to him. So the salamanders go down to 14 as I prepare for the next battle with it, or the next attack. All right. So this thing is going to, what's it going to do? A 3. So it just keeps snapping away. These 2 salamanders are trying to corner me, and they keep snapping away. So I'm going to definitely try to parry. 2d6. 10. Okay, so I get the parry. So I throw up my dagger, get away from this, but I only have 3 stamina left. I'm going to go ahead and use my blade again. So I'll use the 2d6. So I need to beat its defense. So I'm slashing at this thing. I get an 8. Excellent. That's a hit. Plus 2 is 10. Now I need to roll 2d6, but let's clear those results so that it doesn't show anymore. And what do? No 5s or 6s. I got 1 5, but a 4. And then that 5's a 2 is a 6. So I do 6 damage. So this thing is down to 8, but I'm almost out of stamina. And we'll have to look up those rules. I think I have 1 more attack before I'm out of stamina. So let's see what it does. So these things are, I've cut into both of them. They're bleeding, and they are still trying to do what they can. Now it tries to lash its tail at me. Oof. This is a painful one because the evade is a lot better chance for me evading. And I need on a 2d6, I need to get a 10. So I really need to get I need to get a 9, sorry. So I really need to get a 7 on 2d6. So I need like a 4 and a 3. I mean, it's not a horrible chance. You know what? I'm going to risk the chance. I mean, I haven't taken any damage yet. So I'm going to go ahead and still try to parry. 2d6 plus 2. 6 plus 2 is 8. So I do not make it. And there's no inspiration. There's nothing else. So I take that 3 damage as the tail barbs slash into me, and I go down to 17, and I do not get the chance to attack it this time. So unfortunately, that is my turn. So these salamanders kind of regroup, and they're going to snap their jaws at me again. So I am going to, of course, try to parry. So I get a 6 plus 2 is 8, so I am able to parry, which is great. And now I need to get over his defense. Come on, let's get over that defensive 7. 9 plus 2, 9, or 11. So I do get around his defense as he's snapping his jaws at me. I find an opening, and I am going to roll for my damage. No 5s or 6s. Oh, geez, 2 5s. So that is, or is that? Yeah, it's 2 5s. So that does 4 damage to it. So it's down to 4. But then I need to look up briefly. I want to look up stamina, because I think once I get to 0, oh no, I'm down to 1, aren't I? But I do want to look at this briefly, because there's an effect once you get down to 0. Ah, come on, combat. If a hero starts a combat with 0, starts a round with 0 stamina, they're exhausted and defenseless. That means the opponent current attack automatically hits, can't be parried or evaded. And once a prone combat round has ended, your hero can restore 6 hit points plus 1 stamina per will point your current hero has. That's good to know. And I have to remember something. Gosh, I'm already forgetting things. So I'm gonna remember that, and I need to go to my character sheet. I think I only evaded once. So I'm gonna go down to evade. I get 2 free evades because it's your agility modifier. But then after that, evades do cost stamina. And I've got to remember that. Let me look. So if a player makes any evasions, they then must spend 1 stamina and 1 spirit. I didn't see parry. Good. I think parry is like wrapped up in your attack, because I don't see that parry costs any spirit. Yeah, I just want to make sure. Good. And I guess that's wrapped up in your attack action, which makes sense. All right, so I haven't started this round yet without any stamina. So let's go ahead and see what they do. 4. So that's another tail lash. So let me get this back. That's another tail lash. Or no, sorry, it's a snap jaws. Jesus. But I can parry, which is great. So let's go ahead and try to parry. So 9. So I know I'm over their parry, so that's great. So now the only thing I can do with my dagger, because I only have 1 stamina left, so this is going to put me to 0. But all I can do is that pensive strike. So let's look back at that. It's been a while since I've had to look at pensive strike. So make an attack roll and a hit. If you roll a 6, you restore 1 stamina. That's interesting. So otherwise, it's just straight up. So I need to roll against his defense. Don't think I did that yet. So 7 plus 1. So great. So I did pass his defense, and now I get to roll a 1d6. And on a 6, I can restore a stamina. Oh my gosh. So I get a 6, and so that would have, let me look at that again. That would have restored 1 stamina, but based on the fact that he only had 4 left, I kill it. So I defeat the Salamanders. So that's awesome. Now, once you finish combat, everything resets, which is pretty cool. I like that. So let's just, I guess, go to the next. Let's see what happens after I defeat the Salamanders. I'm not defeated, so we go to 92. You flick the Salamander blood off your weapon as the hunter strides past you, grumbling to himself. There is no show of thanks or concern. His attention fixed solely on the boulder where the young man had stood. He disappears around the far side, then returns looking even more grim-faced. Cowardly quarry rat, he grunts, tossing his retrieved javelin to the ground. He stares back at you, one hand resting on the head of a knife at his belt. There is a flicker of challenge in his flint-colored eyes. Hate to see good meat go to waste. He nudges one of the salamander corpses with the toe of his boot. These we should strip and sell. If you have the insight talent, 63, which I don't, so let's go to 46. I'm going to go ahead because my understanding, I'm going to look quickly with you, but my understanding is as soon as combat ends, which is clearly over, let's go back. Whether combat ends in victory or defeat, your hero always restores their health, stamina, and spirit to starting value before progressing the story. So that's great. So I'm going to go ahead and do that and go back to, so my stamina is going to go to 10 and my health is going to go to 20. So I'm good. I'm going to save that so I don't forget. Awesome. So I don't have the insight talent. I have the celestial lore talent. So we're moving to 46. The man continues to stare at you, awaiting a response. Well, has the coyote cut out your tongue to add to his pretty necklace? I hear he has a fancy for doing that. A slight grin moves the scars about his face. Before I do that, I am going to take my wind bullets down to 1. So I only have 1 of those. And that's interesting. It says 2 uses. I think it's basically, oh, you know what? This is if I bartered them. So now I have 1 use of those wind bullets left. All right. State that the spoils belong to me. Question why these corpses are so valuable. Ask him about the young man that ran away. Attempt to learn more about the coyote. Let's ask him about the young, or no, question why the corpses are so valuable. The hunter startles in confusion, then shakes his head when he realizes you're not joking with your words. Now I see you have a tongue, but not the head to use it. Did Coyote take that instead? He gives a gravelly chuckle, tapping his own forehead. Everything is valuable in this god-empty land. Meat, skin, scales, bone. You'll do well to remember that. He squints as he takes in your scruffy garments and crude weaponry. I think you must have a blessing because you speak and look as a newborn. But there must be... His words falter as his gaze catches on the heart glow beneath your cloth. He lifts an eyebrow. No head, I see, but a strange heart. He stares back at you searchingly. There's more about you. State that the spoils belong to me. I don't think so. I think I want to maybe ask him a little bit about the young man that ran away, and then I think I'm going to end the conversation. Let him... I don't need to fight again. The quarry rat, the man scowls, then spits onto the earth. Good fortune for him that you came, but bad for me, because he was meat and I was hungry. He catches your eye and frowns at your show of revulsion. You can't live and fight without strength. He thumps his chest. Do not speak like a fool. I would eat you if you didn't stink so much of that mountain. There is a distant rumble from the black peaks as if to underline the point. Those rats live in the quarry and they are good for nothing. Did you not see the sign across his chest? The bloody run? The sigil of the red ruin? Means that little rat did something to make the chief mad. And now he is scurrying home. He sighs and looks down at the lizard corpses. This meat is better for bartering, but I will eat it. A smile twists his lips. You can have a bladder. Good for a wiser head. I think that's it. I think I'll just end the conversation with him. The hunter draws a knife from his belt, its curved copper edge gleaming with deadly sharpness. You watch with interest as he sets about skillfully flensing and gutting the salamanders, peeling back skin and scales, then extracting the organs with practiced ease. By the time he is finished, his arms are smeared crimson, the fruits of his labor arrayed around him like newly discovered treasures. Let me get my pack, he says, nodding back down the gorge. I'll be back. Then we start fire. He casts a wary glance at the sky, still dark and broiling with fury. Hate to tarry. Too many predators. But salamander meat needs cooking, and my stomach growls like the jaguar. Without another word, he stands and strides off, his leather boots crunching through the gritty earth. I think I'll wait for his return. I don't completely trust this guy. But he hasn't just outright attacked me, which he certainly could have. So let's wait, maybe get some more conversation, learn some more things, and get some food. The huntsman is gone for a while, but finally returns with a number of sizable bundles strapped to his back via a wooden frame. He drops the makeshift backpack onto the dirt, then sets about removing stones from a sack. Each one is marked with Bruhara sigils. He carefully arranges these into a pile, then draws a knife across his palm to draw blood. He clenches his fist, scattering droplets across the stones. He catches your eye and gives a snort. I got no trust in gods, but the spirits. They always answer. He proceeds to move his palms and fingers together, rubbing and wiping the blood as though washing with it. You realize that these gestures are part of an invocation, so you carefully study the ritual, aware that each of the stones is beginning to glow, giving off a gentle heat. You have now learned the following: Invocation of Fire. Nice. So I'm going to go back to my sheet here. Scroll down to my invocations. I should probably clear this out because I'm not in combat anymore. I'm going to reset my free evades to 2, and I'm going to click on fire. So I now know wind and fire, which is awesome. That's great. Hopefully that'll help me going forward. Oh, I forgot to use my bloodied mantle armor. Oh, well. I'll try to remember that next time. So then turn to 289. 2 salamander steaks sizzle on the heated stones, filling the air with a mouth-watering aroma. Although you sense you have little need for such sustenance, you cannot help but watch the cooking meat with quiet anticipation. The hunter scrutinizes you from across the makeshift fire, the hard edges of his face picked out by the flickering light. I am Icon, he states flatly. I am known in these parts and afar. My name, my tonali, is respected. He reaches for his belt and draws a knife, which he stabs into one of the steaks. He grins and nods. So you do not burn fingers. He takes another knife and skewers the second piece, lifting it to his grinning mouth. You return a nod of appreciation, then take the remaining steak. As you do so, you can't help but admire the craftsmanship of the knife he has lent you. Its narrow blade forged from some kind of polished shell. The pommel, a bright white pearl. You are left to wonder how a scarred and rugged hunter came by such a fine and delicate weapon. You have the keyword marked. Oh, if you do. Gosh, I don't. Otherwise, turn to 316. After the meal of salamander meat, Icon sets about packing the rest of the salvage materials into his many bags and sacks. Finally, he blows across the stones, extinguishing their burning sigils, then carefully stores them. We will make for Mountain's Edge, he states, effortlessly sliding his arms into his backpack and lifting it onto his shoulders. We will make good trade there. As he turns back to you, you realize that you're still holding the precious knife that he lent you to skewer the hot meat. I'm not going to keep it. I mean, geez, I'd love it if he gave it to me, but I'm going to hand the knife back to the hunter. The hunter smiles to himself when you hand back the knife. You won't get far in this life, he says, his smile spreading to a grin. Your heart is too soft. With a chuckle, he slides the knife into his belt, then unhooks a pouch from his backpack. He slings it to you. Some extras. Think of it as a helping hand. You've now gained the following inventory items. Nice. So let me write these down. So I'm going to write these down. I think each one takes a slot. So fire gland. And I'll put type. I don't need type inventory. I'll put 2 barter. And then I'm going to put them up here so it's easy for you to see. Lizard skin. Okay. So he gave me 1. That's great. 1 barter. And then we'll do flame heart. 3 barter. That's cool. All right. So maybe I should have taken his knife, but once you have updated your hero, turn to 473. You trek beneath the glowering crimson skies through clouds of ash and grit thrown up by a stubborn wind. The land seemed bleached of all color, save for a red hue that hugs the barren walls of the maze-like canyons. Eventually, the languid landscape is broken by a series of poles staked into the thirsty earth. Impaled upon each whitewood spear are the skeletal remains of a human, ragged scraps of cloth, flapping over filth-coated bones. There are at least a dozen or more, some sporting remnants of feather headdresses, disheveled and crow-pecked. Elsewhere, you see tattered banners, faded and dusty, hanging high from wooden frames. They flap and flail like ghosts caught in torment, adding a melancholy rhythm to the crooning cries of the wind. I can note your uneasiness with a grim snort. Red ruin protects these lands. More for the witch he beds each night. They still worship the old gods, see? He nods towards the base of the canyon wall, where a squat statue of a toad leers back, its wide head split by thick lips and a distended tongue. Moctezuma has sent his eagle warriors against Mountain's Edge many times, and this, he gestures to the impaled dead, is their end. Ask about the Red Ruin. I feel like I heard about that a little bit. Maybe learn more about the witch. And it says continue towards Mountain's Edge. So Moctezuma has sent you against Mountain's Edge. I don't know if... Let's go ahead and learn about the witch. Icon looks uneasy for the first time, shuffling under your questioning gaze. Rather not speak too loud of her. Powerful in Bruhara and darker things, I am sure. A priestess of Oxki, Xoki, the Earth Mother. He glances at the carving of the toad. Seen her once, and not one I want to cross paths with. They say she runs Mountain's Edge with red ruin in one fist, and the blessing of a god in the other. He shudders, blowing out a nervous sigh. Let's not speak more of it. Maybe learn more of Moctezuma? You have lived an absent life, he frowned, shaking his head. All know of Moctezuma. The speaker of Tenochtitlan has taken on the tonality of a god. He has forbidden worship of the old ways. To do so is to bring death upon yourself. Out here, on the edges of what remains, you will find those that still hold to faith, in caves and swamps, living like vermin. Icon takes a deep breath as if his next words pain him to speak. Moctezuma may be a monster, but I do not doubt that a feather of truth hangs over his word. The old gods have abandoned us. Let's ask about the Red Ruin, and he seemed nervous about the witch, so let's check out about the Red Ruin. Icon rubs absently at his cheek. I know only scraps of the word. He is a Nazca, king of the sun priests, earned his name in blood, offering hearts to a dead son. They're all outcasts, have been for many long counts. When Moctezuma took the capital, they had a death mark on them. Nazca are scattered now. He sniffs, pulling a frown. They say the witch has poisoned his mind. He no longer looks heavenwards to that scourge of a sky. Closer to earth now. Xochi, how many times am I going to pronounce it different? Xochi, the Earth Mother. Icon spreads his arm wide, turning on the spot. Do you see anything here to be thankful for? Let's continue to Mountain's Edge. I don't really know where I'm going, but let's keep going. A gateway of bone announces the entrance to the settlement, its height snarled with the tusks of ancient beasts. Within seconds of your approach, a ragged crowd closes in, faces filled with hunger and desperation. Icon pushes them aside with derision, even those burdened with sacks and bags of their own, pleading for barter. I only trade with Koa, he grunts, not slowing his strides as he leads you past the bone gate and into a high-walled canyon. The settlement is little more than a sprawl of limestone hovels, perched haphazardly along cliffside ledges and crumbling paths. The death stench of the wind is soon joined by an assault of other smells. Sweat, filth, and sour decay, rising in waves that bring bile to the back of your throat. As you scan the buildings and stone-worn causeways, you feel the oppression and despair of this place, heavy as the prevailing stink, as if each and every stone has absorbed and magnified the hopelessness of its people. I can make straight for one of the larger buildings, a squat limestone and adobe structure, glowing with lantern light. 2 guards stand outside, tall and broad-shouldered, their scalps shaved to stubble. They give Icon respectful nods and move aside to let him pass. You, however, receive only dismissive glares as you follow between them. All right, let's see who this guy is. Koa. Inside the building, you see a series of tables set out in an expansive hall, where individuals are hunched over bowls, shoveling grimy scraps and watering gruel into eager mouths. One man sits alone, a broad-shouldered figure with outlandish long hair, all braided and interwoven with shells. There is a flash of surprise and recognition when he sees Icon. The Heartless One returns from the wasteland, grunts the stranger, his wind-burnt face pitted with pock scars. Icon wrinkles his nose. I smelt you from outside, Mulu. Salt and fish still your trade? The man raises his spoon, a chunk of fish dripping with broth. I hear no one complaining. He glances around at the others who are all intent on their meals. Icon shakes his head, then turns towards a counter, unburdening himself of his many packs and bags. Words are exchanged with the man behind the counter, who appears to be the only clean offering in this filthy space. His patterned robes and flashes of jewelry offering a colorful contrast to the drab surroundings. Next to the counter, a mangy dog pulls against his tether, growling in your direction. You note the crude pictograph scrawled on the wall beside the sorry-looking beast, which seemed to roughly translate as "do not eat the dog." After many minutes of haggling and some heated discussion, various trades take place. Icon finally turns back to you laden with supplies. If you have the keyword abandon, which I don't, so I'll turn to 126. Icon deposits a sack into your surprised arms. These are for you. Might help keep you alive. He slaps you on the shoulder, then glances around the hall. I got other business. Make yourself at home. After a departing nod to the shell-braided man, he heads out of the doorway. Inside the stack, you discover the following items. Update the number for Canyon Valley with entry number 332. You may now turn to that number to explore the mountain's edge further or travel to another place of interest. You know what? It's been about 40 minutes, so I might keep these between like 30 to minutes to an hour. But I think that's actually a good place to stop. So I guess I believe inside this sack you discover. So yeah, I think Icon is giving me these things. So I think I'll do this off camera, but I'll add the blaze tonic and the blood oil. And then next time I'll decide if I want to turn to the canyon and also if I want to move to the mountain's edge as the next point of interest. So again, if you like this, let me know. I think I am going to keep playing, but I'd love to get some encouragement if you guys found this interesting. But I did. I enjoyed it. I hope I can get rid of this black bite. I hope maybe that will help me. I'll have to look up these items to see if they can help me at all. But anyway, I hope you all enjoyed. And until next time, happy gaming all, and look forward to seeing you next time. Thanks, everyone.